Welcome to my Art 200 investigative object project. For my project, I have decided to investigate the representation of mental illness through art. The piece I chose to investigate was one made by someone named Geoff Jones, who I met years ago when walking downtown Santa Cruz. I had bought this print and was told briefly that it was made in the morning of his mom's death. Years later, when starting this project, I reached out to him and asked for him to explain the context of the piece more in depth. I was told that Lost was in reaction to losing his mom to pharmaceuticals. She had been addicted to a number of heavy painkillers, antipsychotics, muscle relaxers, insomnia meds, and mood stabilizers for most of his life. Many of the medications contradicting each other, creating even more detrimental symptoms. He says that he remembers her sitting on the edge of her bed, watching her nod out on her doctor-prescribed heroin. He said that he braced himself for over 10 years for her to die from the fallout caused by taking so many medications. It was the most emotionally disturbing experiences of his life. For a long time, she battled with the addiction, and finally, in late 2013, she decided to kick the majority of her heavy painkillers and mood stabilizers. She went through more than a month of horrible withdrawal symptoms that almost ended her life. She came out on the other side, more coherent, alive than ever before. Unfortunately, she then later died of a heart attack in early February 2014. It was too late to kick the addiction. Though, despite her vices, she inspired him in so many ways. She is every reason why he loves art as much as he does, and is why he is the way he is today. This was created about a week after she had passed away. The face in the palm symbolizes despair, disappointment, sadness, confusion, depression, and loneliness, choosing a cold color palette as it best described the mood of his expression. Pairing with a splattered background as a result of releasing pent-up anger, wildly springing brushes loaded with paint as if they were weapons and the canvas was his enemy. The black upwards drip coming from the back of the figure was his way of saying, "I'm losing myself." A part of him felt like it was disintegrating. When viewing this piece, I am always mesmerized by the disintegration that is happening within this being. The explosiveness of the texture speaks volumes about how powerful the message is, using a mixture of purple, blues, and black to ensure a sadder, lonesome feel. I love that the background is simply just a result of the explosion of emotion inside this being and nothing else. It allows for me to focus on the being themselves and what they are going through. The clutching central position of the body also adds a lot of intensity to the painting. This piece has a lot of significance to not only me, but to many others who view it. I myself have watched others struggle with addiction, and is a very painful experience to go through, even though you're not the one addicted to the substance. Even though some may feel sad after viewing pieces like this, it's art like Joff's that further allows for the understanding of mental illness in the society we live in today. Not only is it beneficial for the artist to have an outlet to let out their experiences, but it is also a remarkable way for others to see the journey and either relate to it or learn something new about the things millions go through every day when fighting these diseases. Joff and many others are able to exemplify the hardest struggles in their lives through their art, and further allows for people to understand different walks of life. This was another piece that he had created right after his mom quit taking most of her medications. The plant symbolizing the growth of new life as the old body washes away. I personally favored the color palette as well in this piece, as sadness generally equals bluish purple tones. I love the way the two colors come together in harmony within the depth and the warmth in the face. I can also appreciate the blank background with the additional dripping of color from the top to match the composition of the hands below. Not to mention the simplicity of the plant growing on top of the head, though small, it is still one of the most powerful symbols in the piece. Through multiple paintings, artists are able to carefully showcase unique experiences in their lives through symbols, varying color palettes, mediums, and many more contributing factors to the rawness the piece is able to convey. Artists like Vincent van Gogh have been fighting their illnesses through their art for centuries, consistently exemplifying their own specific struggles in the way the world is seen through that illness. For example, this piece by Van Gogh, named Cemetery in the Rain, was a clear depiction of one of Van Gogh's episodes of depression. I read that Van Gogh had a recurring obsession with death, and this piece, no doubt, shows his interest in honing in on death and what it brings on this earth. The fact that Van Gogh included the weather being stormy and gray further shows his attention to detail, as well as his wish to exemplify the mood that death brings. The people depicted have been hired to dig the holes where many beloved people are put to rest, a moment Van Gogh clearly obsessed over, carefully including relations to religion with the crosses and the backbreaking work it is to ensure the peace of those being laid to rest. Another piece by Van Gogh also exemplifies his struggle with mania and hallucinations. Being such a famous painting, I, for a long time, did not realize how ill Van Gogh really was, always seeing this piece as a beautiful depiction he had of the sky. Though it is now forever going to be a beautiful bittersweet painting that will always remind me of the struggles he had with his mind. Having never made the connection prior to my research for this project, I can now clearly see the delusional mood this painting can bring. A lot of his paintings, I have come to realize, have much to say about what he was going through. Some depicting his struggle with psychiatric hospitals and lone, eerie paintings of his room and barred windows. Others depicting evidence of mania due to being bipolar, and of course many others further showing his struggle with depression and obsession with death. This piece of Van Gogh shows a bout of mania and hallucinations as it was painted from the view of his asylum room just before sunrise. The way the sky is painted makes one feel a bit dizzy and hazed, having a psychedelic feel to it. The bright hue of yellows adds to a more dream state feel as the sky is depicted as a large mysterious space compared to the small town below. I imagine he was wondering what was beyond all the seemingly minuscule towns and what lies beyond the depths of the night. From a book I read named Addiction and Art, included pieces of art and explanations of how they showed struggles with various types of mental illness. One piece I chose that was interesting to me was one called I'm Dying for a Smoke by Maria Balla, wishing to show the viewer how different being addicted to nicotine is viewed in society compared to other lethal addictions. It is clear she wanted to spread a message showing how dependent even people who smoke cigarettes are to their cancer sticks. No matter how much health issues they develop, many people continue to smoke despite it killing them inevitably. She explained that the slow, internal, and unnoticeable side effects of cigarette smoking is what may make it look more desirable or classy than any other drug, possibly showing this through the laid-back stance the individual has in the painting despite being hooked up to oxygen. The lightweight and paleness of the body further shows the slow effects cigarettes can have on a person. The artist most likely chose simple yet stark colors in order to focus on the symbols, including the cross on the oxygen tank, the baldness of the head, the sickly dip in the cheek, and of course the relaxed stance the person has while still enjoying their cigarette. Not to mention the all black and shallow background in order to be sure of removing any distractions from the power and the message conveyed. Frida Kahlo is another famous artist able to express her life's journeys through her art. As Kahlo went through difficult experiences all throughout her life, including struggling to hold up her country's cultural identity, in a life-changing bus accident at the age of 18, she was able to grow resilient and show this through her art. This piece in particular resembles her as if she were resurrecting out of her old life and into the new. The hummingbird making a home on her thorn necklace symbolizes an animal of hope and good luck in her Mexican culture. Many critics say her necklace is possibly resembling the thorn crown Jesus wore while being crucified, and the butterflies being a symbol of rebirth as well. The animals depicted show a sense of curiosity and power, something that the woman in the painting clearly had. Thank you so much for viewing my presentation, and I hope it was able to open your mind more into the world of how art can help soothe those struggling and educate those unaware of these struggles. Helping millions cope with a variety of experiences every day. Everywhere you look, art is trying to tell you something about the person who painted it and the experiences within their minds. Everyone can undoubtedly find a piece that they can relate to, and I hope you come across one that speaks deeply to yourself. Please feel free to browse my bibliography for more info about these pieces and other artists, as well as resources regarding mental illness. Thank you.